Before watching the video, don't forget to subscribe the channel and enable bell notification to never miss an update from us.
Hello everyone, welcome to Entri. I, Deepmani Bhardwaj, welcome you all again, and today we are going to discuss SBI PO's previous year's cutoff, and apart from that, we'll also discuss about previous year's analysis, in which what we are going to do, we'll be discussing what was the total number of questions that were asked and what was the good attempt from there. Fine. So let's start with our topic. So if we talk about SBI PO's previous year's cutoff, then we'll be discussing SBI PO's previous year's cutoff, and SBI PO cutoff 2020 will be around the same lines. Fine. So SBI PO examination is conducted by the recruitment of PO in several branches of State Bank of India across the country. Nearly 9.5 lakh candidates applied for SBI PO last year, out of which 20,000 was selected to appear for the mains examination. So as we know that after RBI, it is the most prestigious job which is just after RBI, and there are lakhs of students who every year apply for it, and no doubt there are so many benefits because of which there is craze. Fine. So the cutoff is minimum score that a candidate should achieve in order to qualify the examination. The cutoff is decided by the exam conducting authorities. The cutoff marks may vary for each year and for candidates belonging to different categories. These categories means that they are either from general category or ST or OBC. Fine. The SBI usually releases cutoff for the examination along with the declaration of SBI PO result. So the various factors that affect the cutoff of the examination are not same for each year. Now, what are those factors? See, the factors may be the total number of vacancies. The factor may be the total number of candidates who have applied, that is the total number of students that have applied. Fine. So there are various factors because of which the cutoffs vary. Fine. Now, if we talk about the last year, so for instance, for the year 2019, there has been a significant rise in prelims cutoff from the year 2018, as the paper sets were comparatively easier in 2019. So it's very simple. If the paper was quite easier in 2019, that means cutoff will obviously rise. So this happened the same. In 2018, the paper was quite tough, so the cutoff was quite lesser. But in 2019, since paper was easier, so maximum students were able to attempt maximum number of questions, because of which cutoff rose. Fine. Now, hence we can say that difficulty of examination affects the cutoff marks, and other factors which affect this cutoff are: the first one is performance of the candidates in the examination. If all the candidates are performing well, this means cutoff is going to rise. Fine. Total number of applicants. If there are so many applicants and number of vacancies are less, no doubt cutoff is going to rise. And if number of applicants are less and number of vacancies are more, no doubt the cutoff will go less. Now, the total number of vacancies, no doubt it also depends upon the total number of vacancies. If vacancies are larger, the cutoff is lesser. If vacancies are less, then the cutoff is larger. And previous year's cutoff trend, you also know that from last year we usually compare. If last year the cutoff was around 67, this means this year its cutoff can be around 70. So these are all the factors which leads to the cutoff changes. So apart from that, if we talk about SBI PO's cutoff 2019 for mains examination, then SBI released the category wise cutoff for the mains examination along with the announcement of the results, as this is given in this particular table. So we will be giving you the brief idea about the SBI PO cutoff 2020 for the mains examination. If we talk about general categories cutoff, then it was 95.1. For SC it was 78.13. For ST it was 76.01. For economically weaker section it was 94.3. For OBC it was 87.42. For LD it was 75.03. For VI it was 89.91. For HI it was 76.16. And for D and D it was 54.5. So this was the cutoff of last year's mains part. Now, if we talk about last year's prelims cutoff, then last year prelims cutoff, that is out of 100, its cutoff was for general category it was 71. For economically weaker section it was 68.25. For OBC category it was 68.25. For SC it was 61.75. For ST it was 54.75. For LD it was 59.50. For VI it was 64.75. For HI it was 16.25 and for D&D it was 0.25. Fine. Now, until 2018, candidates had to clear overall as well as sectional cutoffs in order to qualify the SBI PO examination. There are various type of cutoff scores that a candidate need to obtain to successfully clear the examination. Complete information about all the parameters are given. The test paper is divided into several sections, that is the general knowledge section, English, quantitative aptitude and reasoning. So SBI used to set cutoffs and candidate need to clear each cutoff to qualify the competitive test. Also, clearing only the sectional cutoff was not sufficient. The candidate had to also secure overall cutoff which was declared by SBI. So the SBI PO overall cutoff is different from the sectional cutoffs each year. However, this year there is no provision of sectional cutoff in comparison to the previous years. Now this is very important point. Fine. What used to happen for individual subject, there used to be a individual cutoff also, which I will tell you in the later on this section, where for particular subject there was minimum cutoff that was kept, that those marks were also important apart from overall cutoff. Fine. Now if we talk about SBI PO's 2018 cutoff, then the 2018 cutoff will help the students to understand the pattern that exists in SBI PO cutoff trend. Knowing the cutoff trends of SBI PO can enable the candidates to know the level of preparation required to qualify this examination. So cutoff may indicate a lot of important information about the examination, including the difficulty level of the paper. Serious candidates who wish to do well in the examination must go through the previous year's cutoff figures in order to pass the examination. Now, if we talk about the 2018's cutoff, as I have already discussed about 2019, this is 2018's cutoff. So this particular table shows the category wise SBI PO 2018 cutoff. Fine. So for the general category, final cutoff was 93.10 out of 250, and for prelims it was 56.75. If we talk about OBC, it was 86.42. For prelims cutoff, it was 54.25. And please note down, the final cutoff is from the 250 marks, and for the prelims, it is out of 100 marks. Fine. Now, for the SC, that is scheduled caste, final cutoff was 77.13. For prelims, it was 49. For scheduled tribe, that is ST, it was 75.01. For prelims, it was 43. For HI, it was 75.16. For prelims part, it was 14.75. For OH, 75.03 in final and 45.25 in prelims. For VH, it was 88.91 in the final cutoff and 49 in the prelims. Fine. So if we talk about the evaluation part, in order to calculate the actual cutoff figure, the examination conducting authorities analyze several variables, which we have already discussed. So depending on the category of the candidate, the cutoff scores will be varying. The factors influencing the cutoff marks are given below. The first one is that the number of candidates who appear for the examination will play an important role in deciding the SBI PO 2020's cutoff marks. It will also depend on the total number of posts available for the recruitment process. Second thing is that question paper difficulty level will also be considered when calculating the cutoff score. It must be noted that the cutoff marks once decided and announced by SBI cannot be changed. The candidates will have no right to challenge the cutoff under any of the circumstance. Next point is the process of normalization will be adopted for calculating the final score of SBI PO 2020. The procedure for calculating the cutoff score is shown with this formula. So the recruitment of the candidates is done strictly on the basis of merit list. And what is the formula for normalization? It is total marks secured by last ranked candidate out of 100 equal to written test, which will be normalized to 75 plus GD, and interview will be normalized to 25. Fine. Now, if we talk about the SBI PO 2020 stages of the cutoff, then the SBI PO 2020 cutoff will be declared separately for various stages of the examination. The first round of the selection process is the prelims examination. Cutoff marks are declared for this round, which the candidates must obtain in order to move on to the mains round. The second round will be the SBI PO Mains 2020. Again, cutoffs are declared separately for this stage also. To qualify for the post, the candidates must clear the cutoff score for the mains as well. The final stage of the selection process will be the personal interview round. Then, for personal interview round, also the cutoffs will be announced independently based on who manages to secure the cutoff of this stage. Candidates will be finally selected for the post of SBI PO 2020. So this we have discussed each and everything about the cutoff. Now what we are going to understand, we will be discussing about the analysis, which will be section wise. Fine. So if we talk about the examination analysis, since there are three major sections for the SBI PO prelims, which includes the reasoning, quant and English language. So if you are giving this examination in 2020, so you must be aware what was the total number of questions, from which section how many number of questions were asked, and what was the good attempt there. Fine. So let's study about that also. So if we talk about the SBI PO prelims examination analysis, so candidates must be aware that for English language last year the good attempts were considered as 18 to 20. For reasoning ability section the good attempts were 26 to 27. For quantitative aptitude good attempts were around 25 to 28. Fine. Now if we talk individually about each section, then in English language from reading comprehension 6 to 7 questions were asked. From closed test 5 to 6 questions were asked. From single fillers 5 questions were there. From phase replacement 4 questions were there. From error detection there were 5 questions, and from sentence rearrangement there were again 5 questions. So these many questions were asked from individual these sections. If I talk about the quantitative aptitude part, then from DI there were 10 questions. From quadratic equations there were 5 questions. From simplification there were again 5. From wrong number series there were again 5, and from miscellaneous where all those part were percentage, time and work, speed, time, distance, all those come, and from that part there were 10 questions. Fine. If I talk about reasoning section, then in reasoning section from puzzles and seating arrangement there were 15 questions. From inequality there were 5 questions. From blood relations there were 3 questions. From coding decoding part there were 5 questions. From alphanumeric series there were 2. From silogs there were 5 questions. So last year these number of questions were asked from these particular sections. If I talk about the overall examination analysis of 2019, that is 2019, then there were total 100 questions were there, and the level of the examination was moderate. And if I talk about the good attempt, then it was 69 to 74 was considered as good attempt last year. So we have discussed each and everything, how cutoff is set, what kind of paper is there, how many questions are asked from which individual section. So we have discussed almost each and everything. In case you want to ask any other thing also, then comment section is available for you. So please do like this video, comment on it, share as much as possible, and yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel and follow our Entri application. So thanking you for watching this video. Thanks a lot.